Hello, welcome to the Inappropriate Quilter. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can let me know if you can hear me or see me tonight, that would be really good after the disasters that we've had in the past couple of weeks. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Yay, thanks, Melissa. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Chris. Hi, Brian. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Joyce. Hi, Dawn. Thanks, everybody, for turning up. I really appreciate that. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Laura. Welcome to the Inappropriate Quilter. Tonight is part 2 of the Applique series. I am the Inappropriate Quilter. I live in Scotland. I live in a little town near Edinburgh. Most of you already know all this, but just in case there's anybody new tonight that doesn't, thought I'd give you a little bit of background. Now, last week you saw me, I'd done the flower. This week, I've done the rest of it. So this is the panel that's going to go in the middle of the quilt. This is for Heather, the Debt-Free Quilters Festival of Scraps quilt. Hi, Mona. So all I did for this to finish it was, you saw last week I had this template. Well, they're all made from, all the flowers are made from that template. What I did was I drew around them. I drew around another couple. You can see that. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Judy. And that was it, copied 100%. That was the original. And then I reduced it to, on the copy, I reduced it to 75%. So they're slightly smaller. And then I did it 50%. And then by mistake, I did it 75%, not 50%. So I've got a selection of basically leaf-shaped templates. Hi, Joy-T. So that's the selection of the templates. So the big flower in the middle is made from the full size. The green leaves are made from the 75%. These ones are made from the 75% size template. And this one here, the reddy pink, is made from the 75%. And the green's made from the smallest one. So tonight I thought I'd show you what I try and do, but I don't know how well you can see this because it's sideways and I don't know how to fix it. Hi, Andrea. People are still coming in. For once I was on time. It's not like me, but hey, there you go. Hi, Stephanie. So I did a little practice because I always like to check the size of the stitches. So you can see that on this camera. That's the size of that's the wrong way around. That way would be better for you. I like to do my applique with a blanket stitch. So I always check the size of the stitches before I actually start on the piece. Now, in the description, you should be able to find Heather's details to sign up for the words are hard today, to sign up for the Festival of Scraps. And if you send her an email, and I've put her email in the description, I hope it's there, but her email is debtfreequilter@gmail.com. And we've just released month 2. So there's plenty of time to catch up. Hi, Heather. I'm just talking about you and your Festival of Scraps quilt. So for month 2, you need 4 blocks to go in the corners. And I'm going to do these flowers to go in the corners. So I thought I'll do my applique stitching on this tonight because there's an awful lot of stitching on that other one. So we shall have a little shot. Hi, Terry. And we'll see how we get on. Let's try and line that up first of all. I usually like to put the needle down and just check it's going to go in the right place before I start. Check that I've not got this too fast. Oh, that is a bit fast. And then we're just going to pivot. Lift the presser foot, turn round. I'm going to lift that needle up and move it over just a little bit. Needle back down and start again. Now you can do this, sorry, I find it difficult to concentrate, keep my mouth closed at the same time and pay attention to the stitches. You do want to try and get the long stitch on the dark fabric, but sometimes it's not that easy. So this is when Donna would be going dead air, or rather Donna's husband Joe would be shouting about dead air. So there's the first bit, and it is a little bit wonky, it's not perfect. Hold up to this one, you can see it. So you want to go round, and then I'll go round this one, and then we'll do the one in the middle. And then the green leaves. Hi, Shelby. Thanks for coming. Hi, Joe. I hope I've not missed anybody. Yeah, I know that Donna's not here, but that's what she would be saying. And you know, hi, Katie. I hope you're feeling better and that you've got your pain sorted a bit better. Hi, Linda. So first bit done. And then we'll go on to the second one. So what's everybody up to? I'm not sure. I saw a few comments today about bad weather on the east coast of the US. Is that another hurricane, or is that just a storm that's going to hit? Because it's still technically hurricane season, isn't it? Till the end of October. But whatever it is, I hope everybody stays safe. Because we had some pretty nasty storms here last weekend. Although we were lucky on the east coast, it hit the west coast because it came in off the Atlantic. So they got the brunt of it. but it was pretty hairy at times with the wind. I don't like wind. I really don't like wind and rain. I knew it was going to do that. I've just gone a stitch too far. I'm just going to lift the needle up, lift the foot up, and I'll pull that out so that if I cut that, I can take that last stitch out and bury the threads. See, I've just gone just a stitch too far into the green, and that'll bug me. So, hi Deb, thanks for coming. And I don't know if you can see, but we do have some Smurfs in here. Deb said I just needed to hover over people's name to get them to become moderators, but I couldn't work out how to do that. It doesn't do that online. Hi Sandra. That's good, Katie, that you're feeling a lot better. Hi Rita. Oh, winds and flooding rain and the 70 to 100 miles. Yeah, that's what we had last weekend, and it's not fun. Hi Brenda. Well, everybody stay safe, because it's not so much the wind, it's what's flies about in the wind, gets blown about. We've got a swing in the garden that's got like a roof on it. It's wooden. And there used to be a big hedge between us and next door, but there's no hedge anymore. And that stopped it going. And Norman and Christopher turned it upside down. So it was basically on its roof, and it moved about 10 foot. So God knows where it would have ended up if it had still been the right way up. Smurfs, I meant moderators, and then I always call them Smurfs because they're blue. I'm trying to see what Joyce's advice is. Yes, don't overdo it. Oh, Melissa, I love those mechanical bulls. I'd have gone on that in a heartbeat. I would have been off it in about 3 seconds, but I'd have gone on it. Probably done myself an injury and regretted it, but I would have done it. So 2 done so far. That's why I'm not starting the big one just now, because I'm slow at this. But I think we all decided last week that the blue would be the better background fabric, because initially I'd picked a cream, and I have to say the blue makes it stand out, and the fabrics look lovely. Sometimes when people do applique like this and they're doing the top stitch and they like an exact match, I don't mind if there's a bit contrast between the stitch, as long as it's a similar tone. I mean, technically you could top stitch it with anything, but I quite like to do some sort of colour matching with the threads. A point. I wasn't going out to buy new threads. So it was very much a case of what I had. But when there is a slight change in tone, I do think it actually frames it quite nicely. I'm going to snip off these other threads here, because when it starts, it always does a fastening off stitch. when it's doing a decorative stitch on this machine. I hate threads. Threads do not like. Oh, there's the bucket there. That's quite handy. So I've got the 3, and then I'm going to change the colour to the green, and that'll be this one done. And see, I nearly pulled the thread up. I know you're not supposed to, it's a little bit of thread, but the amount of times that I nearly pull the thread up, and you're supposed to pull it down through your machine and out, not up through the tension discs. So I've got that green, which is about as close as I've got, but it matches quite well. Can't really see it there. I shall show you here. See, it's not a bad match. It goes quite well. It's close enough. This is just Coates and Clark's thread, which isn't my ideal. Like, I wouldn't piece with it, but I quite like it. I got a whole, because it was quite cheap, a whole pile of them in an assortment of colours. I'm going to have to trim that because it's got a furry end. And the machine does have a needle threader, but it's supposed to be a one-stitch thing, and it's really good, apparently. And the guy in the shop showed me how to do it several times. I can't get it to work. So I'm going to do what Jenny does. If it's good enough for Jenny, it's good enough for me. I'm going to look at the end of the thread and snip it. And you'll watch me going, that's disgusting. But it works. That was the one that I was going to. I don't see it's come out. I need to tie that one off. There's another thread that's going to irritate me. Right. So for the leaves, I'm going to hopefully start in the middle and go right round to the point and right round to that side and back again, which is really what you want. You want to try and start and stop as few times as possible. And I'm way behind on the chat. Hi, Melanie. Did I say hi to Melanie? I quite like to go to the Outer Banks and have a look at it when I come over for QuiltCon in February, because it's not that far. Heather, I can't believe you've never heard anybody refer to the moderator as Smurfs before. I'm sure I've called you Smurfs when you've been on Donna's chat. Oh, Rita, rain for 2 days for you. That's a huge amount of rain. Katie, that's good that you got good sleep, and I'm glad that Nico's looking after you. Andrea, I'm sorry, I don't know how to do captions. I'll try and get that to work for next week. I do know my close-up camera is sideways, but I spent about an hour trying to get it. When I did my test today, my son helped me. He's been fabulous. Everything was the right way around. And when I switched it on tonight, that camera was sideways. And the pair of us spent about 40 minutes trying to get it to turn. We came out, we came back in again, we tried all sorts of things and could not get it to link up and not be sideways. So it's got my microphone attached to it. So can't have the microphone attached to my phone and it's sitting on its end. If I could sew one-handed, I could hold the phone so that you could see it, but I can't do that either. So next week, Andrea, I will try and have the captions working for you. That'll be my homework for next week, is to get the captions working. Shalom sent me this really funny thing with Scottish phrases in it. Well, it was actually Scottish insults. But what was funny wasn't the phrases, which some of them were a bit bizarre that I've never heard before. Was there was an AI telling you how to say the words, and the AI was really, really bad, and they were all wrong, which made me laugh, because that's telling people how to pronounce the phrases. It's like, well, you need to get the AI right. Rather than AI, they're just better just getting a Scottish person to read them. Maybe I should volunteer. And then I would get away with being inappropriate and saying bad things on the internet. I find that once I get going with this, that the more I do, the faster I get at them. But to begin with, I'm quite slow doing the top stitching. A lot of people like to do zigzag stitch, and if it's something that's going to be washed a lot, then I do sometimes use the zigzag stitch. But I do like the blanket stitch. I think it looks pretty. And it's easier for me to get a neater finish, for me, with the blanket stitch than it is with the zigzag. I always find it much harder to line the zigzag up. So the point of the zigzag's going into the dark fabric, but the majority of it's in the light fabric. And everything that I've done, and I've used the blanket stitch, has held up okay and been washed and things. I did a really nice bag for my daughter that was sunflowers. She loves sunflowers. And it's been washed a lot because stupidly they're on a cream background. And it got filthy. Snip the threads. My room's quite tidy at the moment. I'm trying to keep it that way. Not tidy very often. So there we go. You can see that. Can you see the stitches now? They're not a bad colour match. So I'm on my side, but the sewing's turned. If you're watching on an iPad, it's fine. I just thought you might like to actually see me sewing, and it was the only way I could get it to do it with the microphone on the bottom, because people said they couldn't hear me. So my lovely husband, Mr. Inappropriate, bought me a microphone. So I don't know if that makes it better, because everybody said when I turned away from whatever device I was using, that I was using the microphone, they couldn't hear me. So that'll be one of the corner blocks. So I thought it would be quite nice to be at an angle rather than straight. Hi, Robin. Thanks for coming. I'm not going to bore you and do all the big one, because that'll take me ages and you'll be thoroughly fed up doing that. Thanks, Sheila. Nikki. So you can all hear me. Oh, Diane Keaton had died. Oh, that is sad news. How old was she? Was she in her, she must have been in her 70s, was she? She was a great actress. Or you don't say actress anymore, it's actor. She was a great actor. Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, when I said and you know, people said they couldn't hear me, said, "Buy a microphone." And I said, "I'm not buying a microphone, I've only just started this." So he bought me a microphone. Hi, Denise. She was 79. So you think, well, that's not a bad age, but it's not old either now, is it? 79's not old. That's not old at all. But yeah, she was really good. I liked her. So, next thing, because it's only 25 past. And we've got a wee bit yet to go if you want me to carry on, but I'm not going to do all this. This is too much. But I might do some of the leaves on the big one, or we can do something else. I brought this to let you see because I have a little bit of a thing for nice decorative tins. And if I see something, I'll buy it, even if I don't like the contents, if I really like the tin. Yes, First Wives Club is a great film, Brian. So when she was in France, she brought me and my husband back chocolates, but there, that microphone, that camera even, there's a bit of a reflection. But yeah, she bought me that tin, which was the place where she got the chocolates was in this market. It was an old Victorian market. I said it was a temple. It opened in 1901. Temple to gastronomy. So that's food. So it was a food market. But I thought it was really pretty. And it's pink as well, which is one of my favourite colours. I'm trying to do it so you don't get the reflection. I think you're getting the reflection off my laptop, which I've got the laptop hardwired. I've got a cable running down the hall because last week the internet was terrible, but I think the internet was terrible last week because of the storm. Hi, Wendy. Thanks for coming. So yeah, that's my new thing. I've just got to find stuff to put in it now, which will not be a problem, I can assure you. Sheila's still talking about my pen drawer, but at least it was tidy. So, you know how I did the pins? And quite a few people said they liked the pins and they're easy. Well, I'm getting more selective about the tins, Brenda. I do now not just buy whatever, and I did put a whole load away to charity because if I like them, other people will like them too. Now I've lost my train of thought. It's like a squirrel brain up here. It's probably more like a hamster actually, rather than a squirrel. But anyway, yeah, completely lost my train of thought. That's not good. You'll be getting dead air. Tins for pens, yes. But I still can't remember what I was saying. Tins for pens. Yes. Oh, pins. It was pins we were talking. I was saying. So because I did the pins and everybody liked the pins, I thought maybe I could do like a little set of sewing accessories. Because I've done the pin cushions, done pins, and I thought maybe next week could do a needle book because they're easy and they make really nice gifts for if you've got friends that sew. And it's coming up to that dreaded C word soon. So after watching Lisa's Festival of Threads premiere the other night when she was saying about using stuff, I thought that might be quite a nice gift for somebody, either a pin cushion and pins, or even a needle book with some nice pins in it. So yes, if people quite fancy that. Hi Terry, nice to see you. That's right, Denise. They're getting closer and closer in age when people die. It's a bit frightening. So yeah, I thought next week we could do the needle book. And I could maybe show you a couple of pins, because the pins aren't hard to make, they're easy. Just with buttons and things. And that might be quite a nice thing, because they're good gifts. What I do use for my closures, for my... Oh, and I've dropped it. Needle books, and I use it for quite a lot of things, is hair ties. Down there. We call them baubles, but I like the ones without the metal clip. And you get quite nice ones. And you get... So you can sort of colour match them, like they're quite... These were at Claire's, which we still have Claire's. Claire's didn't go disappear here, but I know you're losing Claire's. But those with a button are really nice to use as a little closure. Excuse me. And you just stretch the elastic over. Or magnets are quite good too. I also like magnets, but some people are quite afraid of magnets if they've got young kids and dogs. Get the damn lid on. Why is that not going on? Did I get a bauble caught in it? I think so. And next week, if you want, I'll give you a tour of my sewing room and let you see what I keep in all these drawers. Yeah, Brian, we need to get you on Discord. You would like Discord. So yes, you want a tour, Melissa. And I'll open the drawers and the drawers are actually really tidy. I'm quite... The top's not. The top's a mess. On my cutting table and things where I cut. But I'm quite particular about putting the stuff back neatly in the drawers. My biggest problem in this room is I just have too much stuff. But yeah, I thought I'll have it properly tidy for next week. Because what you can't see is there's a big pile of stuff in the middle of the floor. But yeah, most people like a tour because everybody likes a nosy at somebody else's setup, don't they? What they've got going. And next week I'll have a long enough cable so that I don't have to have the laptop. But everything, I'm looking at the laptop, I should be looking at this camera, but the chats on that one, this is confusing. So sorry that I'm not looking at you when I'm speaking. I've just realised that I'm doing that. I could take you on a tour of Scotland, but it's dark here when I come on because it's 8 o'clock at night. So it's in the winter you wouldn't see much. It's but maybe if I'm out and about at the weekend, I'll do some filming. But literally I stay, it's probably, I don't think it's even 100 yards, or maybe just 100 yards from the sea, from the beach. And straight across from our town is Edinburgh. So that's my view when I go down the beach, is Edinburgh. So maybe one day, if it's a nice day, I'll take you and let you see that, see the views across the Firth of Forth. Depends where you're from, Andrea, because I know it's tiny in comparison to America, but it's still not that small. Joyty, the only problem with that is there's no Wi-Fi in any of the tunnels. What we did with the kids that was really good is in Edinburgh, in the old town, there's a tourist attraction called Mary King's Close. And it was, they just kind of built on top of buildings. And it's all underground. And people lived under there, under street level. And you get to go in the tunnels. And it's a bit creepy. You definitely feel that you're kind of being watched when you're down there. Yeah, that would be a good idea, Andrea, to do a premiere so they can chat with you. Your craft room's like flying over the Himalayas, Brian, with all the piles and all the surfaces. Well, my kids came in and saw this last week and they went, "Oh my God, you can see the floor." Hi, Sandra. So, yeah, they thought that was really funny that you could actually see the floor in here. Now there's just a little pile in the floor, and half that pile is empty boxes to go away. Sandra, is your sewing machine all right after your iron and your disaster? So yes. See, sorry, I'm reading the chat, looking at the chat. But yes, there's lots of ghosts here. We've got a ghost in our house. You always feel somebody watching you in the hall, and the bit that you feel somebody watching you, and it's not an old house, but the bit that you feel somebody watching you, that was the bit that where Christopher always used to speak to the man when he was a child. And that used to freak me out. Having a proper conversation with somebody right up until he was about 3, and you'd go out, the dog would be going crazy, growling, burst up, tail up. And you'd go out, say, "Who are you speaking to?" And he'd say, "The man." I'd say, "What man?" "The man in the hall." And then he'd look, and he would look, and he'd be like, "Oh, he's gone now. He always goes when you come." It used to freak me out. Then when he got to about 3, 3.5, the man disappeared. Evie never saw him. The man was probably scared of Evie. That's the difference between the two of them. Well, I don't have a design wall yet, Andrea. I'd quite like one. I've been watching Tracy from the Sewing Channel. She did a really good one with microfiber cloths. And wrong, Sandra, I think, yes. No, I thought it was you, Sandra, that had the issue with your iron sparking. Different Sandra B. That's really confused me now. But yes, she did one, and it was a great tutorial, and she's microfiber cloths, and she's had whole quilts stuck to it, and they don't come down. But I don't really like the feeling of microfiber, but then I thought, if I'm sticking stuff to the microfiber, I don't need to touch the microfiber. But I've kept an empty wall for the design wall. I shall let you see that wall. Oh, see, you can see the piles on the floor. I'll quickly tell. But that wall there is empty for the design wall to go on. The name of the town? Well, Judy, that's quite funny because I'm going to put that back there. It's called Burnt Island. And I do have this in a big print. But it's not, it's back to front. It's not burnt and it's not an island. It's what it says on the postcard. And people that don't know go, "What? Why have you got that?" But because that's the one thing that people always ask, how's it called Burnt Island? Is that an island? Did it go on fire? And it's not either of those things. But yeah, it's just a small town. There's about 6.5, 7,000 people, I think. Most of those ghost hunter shows, they never see anything. They're like, "Oh, did you hear that? He said such and such." You think, it never said anything. It was crackle. It was static. So yeah, I've got Norman on the case for insulation boards, the foam boards. And then Tracy from the Sewing Channel. Hi, Debbie. Tracy from the Sewing Channel used the microfiber cloths on a roll. You know, that's like you buy it and it's like a roll of kitchen roll. And you can actually pull them apart because they're perforated. And she did perforate them. And then she cut the insulation panels to the size of the cloth and wrapped them around each cloth and put them on the wall. But I think I might just leave it on a roll, or I might even stitch them all together so it's one big piece of microfiber. I don't know. I don't like touching microfiber. You're all still chatting about ghost hunters. There's ghosts everywhere here. I mean, that's what makes me laugh. They talk about the new town in Edinburgh, and it was built in the 1700s. And that was the new bit. Yeah, I'm a bit like you, Brian. I used to watch all these creepy things, and I used to like horror things, and I can't watch them now. Especially if it's something that somebody appears at a window or something, that freaks me out. Yeah, Laura, Tracy's design wall is awesome. So that's what I'm kind of hoping to go for. But yes, I'll give you a proper tour of everything next week, like you see in most of the drawers, apart from the little cupboard, because that's full of crap. That's the next thing I've got to sort. But I'm just yapping now, just talking rubbish. So I don't know if you want me to stay on and keep talking rubbish and do a bit more sewing, or if you want, I'm just ready to finish up early tonight. Nobody's saying anything. There's crickets now. You're not probably all fed up listening to me. See, I'm still doing it. I'm still reading the chat off the laptop because it's in big letters and I can see it. Some of the places I just like because you get behind the scenes in old castles and things. Some of the old castles are nice. I can talk. Yeah, Nikki, if talking was an Olympic sport, I'd be a gold medal winner. And then I come on here and my brain goes, like the very first week when I had no sound and I didn't know what to do, and I had all this intro planned and everything that I was going to say, and then I realised you couldn't hear me and I panicked, and everything that I had said while you couldn't hear me, I forgot to say it again. Do what I want, Sheila. You might regret saying that. Right, I've got this green thread in, so I'm going to do some of these leaves and keep going with this. But yes, Heather's Festival of Scraps quilt month 2 was just released last Saturday. So there's plenty of time to catch up and do it. Because month 2, I think she said you needed 192 2.5-inch squares and some 8.5-inch blocks. And you could do some 4.5-inch blocks. I thought I wouldn't do it all 2.5-inch squares because the fabric that I was going to use last week for the applique, and I ended up using the boutiques. I got them from a friend. She sent me them. And they're the most amazing colours. And they kind of coordinate with what I'm doing. I've got a couple more boutiques, but I found that one, which is really pretty. Little hibiscus flowers. Really like that. That's really pretty. Do you know where about your ancestors come from, Laura? And that's another boutique I like, the contrast. When I ironed the green one earlier, it smelled of crayons. None of the other boutiques that I've used have, but that one smelled like Crayola crayons. Took me back to my childhood. That was one of the yellows, and that's the other yellow. I kind of like that one better with a slightly orange tint to it. I don't know if I really have a favourite. There's so many, because I'm just a beginner quilter. I would describe myself as a Jill of all crafts, a master of none. You know, they used to say jack of all trades, master of none. Well, that's me when it comes to crafting. I've tried and done so many things. But I like to, I'm not fussy about being the best, or I just like having a go at things. I really like a log cabin block, and I like a wonky log cabin block. But I don't like things with too many half square triangles. Half square triangles seem to be everywhere just now. All the patterns are full of half square triangles. And curves, I want to get better at curves. Tasha, and I can't remember her channel name, that's terrible. It'll come to me in a little while, probably when I've come off here. Tasha did the most amazing quilt, and her inspiration was, you get the Lego tiles, the flat bricks for doing pictures, and she saw it on Instagram, and she took that as her inspiration, and it's all the curves like Drunkard's Path blocks, and she did the most amazing pattern. She's done a few with curves. She is the queen of curves, and I'd really like to do that quilt in practice. But I'll give most things a go. I'm not keen on flying geese, because I'm not very good at them. I'm getting better at it. So there was that one with the hibiscus flowers. That was what made me like this first one here, because it's got hibiscus in it too, and it's sort of similar colours. So I got that one. I showed you these last week, that one. My plan was to actually cut out the leaves on this and use the actual leaves, but I'm quite grippy. I don't like fussy cutting and wasting loads of fabric. That one. And this one. And these were a set I got. There was only 4. There'd be a whole collection, but the person I got them from only had 4 fabrics. Turn it that way. And I really liked them, but only bought half a yard of each one, which was really stupid, because what can you make with 2 yards? Not very much. So I thought I'd use, I know this quilt that Heather signed is supposed to be with scraps, but what else am I going to use these for? So I do have scraps, but I thought I'd use these up as well. So for the bit where you need, I think I'm sure she said 192, 196, 2.5 inch squares for the next bit, because it's 16 patch blocks, 4 by 4, 2.5 inch squares. I might use some of these and just cut them into 4.5 inch blocks, or even 2.5 inch by 4.5, and kind of do it that way to make up the 8.5 inch overall blocks. The 4 corner ones are definitely going to be these. I've got the other bits cut out for this, and then I'm going to use these. And again, other fabric, only bought half a yard, don't know what I was thinking. This is a Jason Yenter fabric, and it's quite spectacular, but I don't know what I'm going to use it for. So I'm going to cut that up and use that in this scrap quilt, because I need to start using some of my stash. But it just makes me think of fireworks, kind of. I half entertained the thought of fussy cutting some of these out and using them on the main panel, or the central panel. Well, normally if I buy yardage, I normally buy at least a yard, if I'm buying a selection. But I don't know what made me think to buy half a yard of each one. I don't even know if it says on it. I didn't look at the salvage to see who it's by. It says something down here. Birds of Paradise by Sarah Payne for the Craft Cotton Country. And it says it's not intended for children's sleepwear, but it is really pretty. It's quite Hawaiian, sort of tropical. Can you see that way? That's the right way, with the birds and the flowers and things. Yeah, Joyty, I'm like that. And what I find is the longer I have the fabrics, the harder they are to cut. The ones that I buy and use straight away, don't have a problem with. And they don't even need to be that special, just the longer I have them, the harder they are to cut. So these are getting cut up and used. And I've got some batiks. And I've also got this one, which kind of goes, it doesn't really, but similar colours. Which is almost, the background's almost a sort of ombre on this one. If you can see, it changes colour. It goes blue to light blue and then to green. You can, which is quite pretty. And it's sort of like peacock's feathers. I quite like this. So I'm going to cut this up as well. Use it. See, this is a bigger piece. This is a yard cut. But I've only got this one piece, so it doesn't go with anything. So I might as well cut it up and use it. Because I find making scrap quilts really, really difficult. Hello, Amber and Jennifer. Did you fight when you got your stall set up? And are you having a good time at the festival? Oh, good. I look forward to that. You going live. Get to see your stall all set up. If you don't already, you should check out the Cheeky Quilters. It's Amber and Jennifer. They go live on a Wednesday night. Well, it's Wednesday night for me. It's actually Thursday morning, but potato. They go live on a Wednesday at 7 Eastern time, 6. No, that's rubbish. 8 Eastern time, 7. I think they're Central. Because Amber stays and Jennifer stay near. Where did they stay near? Oh God. Where Mardi Gras is. See, I'm having another brain fart. Come on, Sheila, help me out here. Where are Amber and Jennifer from? So they're in Central Time. Louisiana, yes. Southern Louisiana, though, not just Louisiana. They're from Southern Louisiana. And the pair of them are great. Got great sense of humour. Amber does the most amazing... I just realised that camera's coming up. Amber does the most amazing collage quilting. It just goes for it. You saw how long it took me and how I hummed and hawed last week to do that central flower. No, I missed that, Laura. Sorry. I will zip back and see where your ancestors are from. Central Scotland, the Channel Islands and the Isle of Man, the Western Highlands and the Outer Hebrides. Well, Central Scotland's where I am, right bang in the middle, known as the Central Belt. Oh my God, Katie, you've got snow already. Sheila, did I trigger you by saying Southern Louisiana? Oh, Andrea. Yeah, I know you have difficulty with your mobility and things, but if I stayed half an hour from Houston and had been at Quilt Festival, that looks amazing. Your 4th great-grandfather. So that's great, 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 great grandfather, Nikki. That's ages. That's hundreds and hundreds of years ago. It's from Edinburgh. That's technically where I'm from. That's where it says where I was born. It's Edinburgh. Yes, Joyty, we all kind of love men in kilts. As long as they're wearing them properly. There's nothing worse than when they're not wearing them properly. 1783. Yeah, that's a wee bit ago. My grandfather was born in 1885. He was in his 50s by the time my dad was born, and my dad was the eldest. Imagine having 5 kids in your 50s. 52 he was when my dad was born, and my dad was the eldest of 5. It was his second marriage. His first wife had died. Can you imagine? Yes, Laura. And this year, hi Mona, I am going to QuiltCon, and I'm really excited. And what I'm excited most about is getting to meet people. getting to meet all you people that I speak to in the chat that are also going. That's what excites me most. In the summer, you might have seen her in some of the chats as Kathy Has Faith. Her and I speak in some of the lives we were on, and she was over here with her husband and got to meet her, and that was amazing. Yes, Mona, I am really looking forward to your Festival of Threads this evening. That has been great. Are you the last one, Mona? Hi, Debbie. Are you having fun at retreat? Yeah, Nikki Paducah sounds good. Oh, I've got an itchy nose now. Wonder who I'm going to be angry at later. Yeah, I think Mona's the last one on the Festival of Threads. It's been brilliant, and I've got so many ideas. And you can still go back and watch them all, and there is a competition. If you can get all the answers right, follow the rules, then you might win. I think it's a $50 gift card. You have to go and get packages. Yeah, you still at retreat, Debbie? Or is today the last day? When does retreat finish? It's funny because I'm watching this and everybody's saying they can't wait for 6 tonight to watch Mona's premiere. But here it's 5 to 9 at night because Mona will come on at 11 o'clock for me this evening. See, Laura, 13's unlucky, so you should leave the car show this year and come to QuiltCon. You got to go to QuiltCon last year, didn't you? So I've never been, and I am super excited. Yeah, Brian, there was a lot of Scottish people. For such a tiny country, we made it quite far around the world. So you still at retreat, Debbie? Did I miss that? Did you answer that? Yes, you're leaving in the morning. Have you had good fun? It's just misunderstood. Yeah. I'm just trying to get Laura to come to QuiltCon. And Sheila and Debbie. I think we'd get in too much trouble if it was... It's maybe just as well that Norman's coming, because I think I could get in a lot of trouble if I was there by myself. Yeah. Brian, you should watch Mona tonight, and then you can catch up on all the Festival of Threads, and you'll see some great people to follow, some great channels. Melissa did hers last night. Her house looked fabulous. All decorated for, well, you call it fall, for autumn, with all our pumpkins and everything. It was amazing. Now I've got an itchy back. So next week, I know you do, Laura. I'm only saying that to make you feel bad. Just being mean. I don't really mean it. Just having a laugh. The next week, we'll do the needle book, and they're quite good. Now, for the needle books, if anybody wants to get stuff, as I showed you the hair ties, but you could just use a button and thread. But I usually use a button, and I use interfacing, and I like to give them structure. I use quite a heavyweight interfacing. And I don't know where I've put it. I thought all my interfacing was in. Oh, here it is, lying on the floor. This is actually meant for curtains, but this is thick, thick stuff. And I either use that or I use 2 layers of ordinary interfacing. And as much, that kind of stuff, use 2 layers of that. Because I like the outside of the needle book to be quite firm. And then just felt for the inside bit. And I usually use a couple of pieces of felt. But yes, I use thick interfacing to give it some structure, because you don't want the needles poking out, do you? That's the last thing you want. But that and a pin cushion and some pretty pins would be quite a nice Christmas gift for somebody that sews. You can watch Festival of Threads tonight, Wendy. It's on YouTube on Mona Did What. That's right, that's what Mona's channel's called, isn't it? Mona Did What? Mona Did What on her YouTube channel. And I can send you the link, Wendy, in school. Wendy and I, English paper piece, and we're on a platform called School. Well, I'll show you all them next week, Laura. So I will send you, Wendy, I'll send you a message on School with the link to Mona's channel for tonight. It's at 6 p.m. And then you'll get all the other links for all the other channels. And Ryan, you should watch it too. Shaw's my mother's maiden name, Heather. That's funny. Wonder if we're related. So, yes, I'm just about, I've gone a minute over after just leathering rubbish. We might well be distant cousins. So I would appreciate it if you've enjoyed tonight's rubbish. Give me a thumbs up. If you could hit that notification bell, and if you hit it, click on it and get it to go black, then you get all the notifications, not just the ones that YouTube thinks, well, you're supposed to get all the notifications. Anybody wants to get in touch with me, my email is in the description. You can send me an email, or you can catch me in any of the chats. I'm glad you enjoyed the rubbish, Joe. And what's Nikki saying? A lot of cheaters in the family. Yeah, lots of oops babies. There generally were, though, lots of oops babies. So, yes, we shall see you all later. And I'm still looking at the chat on the wrong camera, because the chat on my iPad is tiny and I'd need to take my glasses off to read it. So I will have this finished next week that I can show you. Well, maybe. And I might have done some of stage 2. But Heather's pattern is free at the moment to sign up. If you send her an email, she will send you the stuff. And the middle bit, you need something that's 20.5 inches, or you could do 4 10.5-inch blocks. But I decided you could use a panel. If you had a ready-made panel, I didn't have a panel to fit. I decided to make a panel. So that's my panel. But I quite like it. I quite like how it turned out. And considering that it was all just done with one shape and one template, it was easy. And I was quite surprised because Norman said, "Oh, and you've done lotus flowers," that he thought that was a lotus flower, which is what it's meant to be. But he doesn't know plant names. He used to call everything a lupin. So maybe it's because L, maybe he only remembers plant names that begin with L. More threads to rotate me. So yes, I'm going to go and let you all have a lovely time, and I shall see most of you at Joe's. That's because I'm reading Joe's comment. I will see most of you at Mona's later. So needle books next week. They're easy. They're quite pretty. You can fussy cut things if you want, but basic supplies needed for them, and they're quite a nice gift. Just a small minding. But I think that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to do a set of sewing accessories because I need to do sewing accessories for me. I do them for gifts for other people, and I don't have any for myself apart from pin cushions. But then I quite like pin cushions, which you all know. Anyway, next week, needle book. So have a great week. Be appropriately inappropriate. Make someone smile. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye.